Easter Saturday, I think it was. Yeah,
Easter
Saturday.
The Googs, you went out.
You went out.
Saturday
It was mostly all children.
Googs. We used to say something, remember? Googs. And you had a stick in your hand.
Yeah, always brought a stick. A stick in your hand and knocked the door like with the stick. And you got the eggs. And you always had an apron or something like that to put or a basket to put the eggs into. To collect the eggs for Easter.
Well, we went going always about Easter Monday. And we go out to everyone's house and you'd go Googs, eggs or money, we'd always say. And it could be eggs you get in a basket and you could get money. So, but I mean, you sell the eggs then when you come home, down in the village. And you have the money and divide it up between whichever's the goal, like, you know. That's where we used to do it.
You dress up in anything, old women's clothes. Maybe the boys would dress up in the women's clothes and the girls would dress up in the men's clothes, men's hat and men's pants and all on them, and off they go. And a stick in your hand.
A basket.
And a basket on your arm, or in a wood bag or something to put your money or whatever you'll get in it. You wouldn't have a whole lot in those times. But you'd go to all the houses then, and when you go to the door, you'd say, Googs.
Eggs or money, ma'am.
Eggs or money, ma'am. Yeah.
They have an old stick and they could.
Yeah, and they tap the door. And maybe someone wouldn't answer you. And someone may be right good. They come out and you'd know what you get. They're doing that still, you know. That's going on still. Not as much now in the last 4 or 5 years as it has been. But when our lads were small now, they always went out and used to go out, you know. And they'd look forward to that night going out on the tobies.
They hadn't anything on their face and no old bit of neck.
And you wouldn't know because they're covered down.
No old bit of neck curtain or something.
Something on their face. Yeah. Or an old thing and the eyes cut out and all you'd see is the 2 eyes and maybe the mouth talking. That's all.
The dress up and the disguise themselves, you know. Dress up, no one would know them. Yeah. But they'd have the basket or a bag or something for to hold the eggs in. I thought, the eggs they get. They weren't interested in the money that much.
Well, there wasn't much to be got, like, you know. So
because they had the eggs for the tea and all, you know, they'd all get eggs. And they'd have us for the father and mother as well. Yeah, so they could get a dozen of eggs in it from a few houses, like, you know.
Well, they wouldn't go too far.
They wouldn't go too far. Oh, well, they used to go up. They go about a mile outside the village, like, you know. Because they could go at that time. There was no motor cabs on the road.
They'd get more or less a piece of used to call it a skioch or blackthorn, and just put it down it. And you collect all the egg shells that you'd use, boiled eggs from Easter, and you put a string through them, like, and put them all around at the old Christmas decorations, and you go off and pick these primroses and stuff, and you tie them in bunches here and there and all on the top of this May bush, like, you know. It was up for the 1st of May. It was a great tradition when we were used to it.
The ICA was here in Castlebridge for over 50 years, and I'm in it. As a matter of fact, it's in closing at the moment, but I'm in it 40 years, and every year up till I suppose 10 or 12 years old, we had a May bush dance every year on the first Sunday in May. We always had a dance down in the hall, and we'd have to bring in a big skioch and decorate it and all, and that'd be by the stage, like where the band would be. The May bush would be there. But I remember my mother telling me about, do you know, going down to Beggarn?
Yeah.
Down to Beggarn Lodge.
Yeah.
Down to the Sloglands. And there was always a May bush there on the crossroads. And they used to dance all night out on the crossroads with the May bush. And she said it'd be packed, there'd be crowds there. And they'd have music. Johnny Hardy, I think, was the man that used to play the accordion. And they'd be dancing all night around the May bush on the 1st of May. She often told us that.
I remember when I was
used to
young,
put them up on them.
there was a May bush down, a May bush down on Bennett's Cross.
Bennett's Cross.
You remember that?
Used to be one over at Fahis Cross.
And Fahis Cross.
As well. A May bush.
And there used to be music and dancing on the cross.
You know, dance around the May bush. That was going back years.
That was, I remember that.
But we had our own ICA dance, like, in the hall with a band that night. But we always called it the May dance.
May bush dance.
You know.
Oh, we used to put flowers on the May bush.
Yeah, with May bush and you have shells too. And the candles would be on the May bush.
Yeah.
We'd be going around the street collecting a few pennies off of the men for the May bush. And some would only have a half. Pennies were scarce. And we'd buy the candles with the bit of money we get. And we had streamers on them. And we had what else on them? We had all the
daisies and flowers, white flowers. Yeah, all right. We used to have ours in Haley's Mall.
We had it on the cross out here.
Oh, yeah. There was always that little bit of competition.
We had a man with an accordion he used to play, and we danced around it.
Yeah, well, the month of May was always a bit known as our ladies' month, like, you know. People didn't know.
The May blossom, you wouldn't bring it into the house. It was unlucky to.
Yeah, the hawthorn.
Yeah, the hawthorn bush.
You wouldn't bring the hawthorn bush
into the house.
Oh, you couldn't whitewash in May. It couldn't stay on the wall. So you have to whitewash then in either April or June or July, whatever month you want to whitewash. But if you whitewashed in May, the hens wouldn't lay if it was a hen house, and if they didn't lay, it'd be all rotten. You'd never get you used to sit the hens that time. So there'd be no use to sitting the hens, the eggs, because they'd be all rotten. And if you don't know what the cow house, the cows that have fairy calves, and you couldn't do it their house. And if you don't know what the horse would die if you were ploughing or harrowing or out in the field working with them. So you couldn't think of doing it.
They wouldn't whitewash.
They wouldn't whitewash the
houses until May was out.
Until the month of May was over. They wouldn't. It was all no paint, like, it was whitewash. And they wouldn't whitewash in the month of May. It was all lucky May.
On May mornings years ago, people wouldn't, if people were years ago in the country, you know, the neighbours come around to get a pint or 2 pints of milk, you know, just in a can, and that you're not supposed to sell any milk or of a May morning. That's unlucky. That your cows won't profit for the year and things like that.
And in our place above, never allowed the cows until the first day of May, and they had the little fire, and they had to drive the cows through the fire every May, and because then the fairies wouldn't milk the cows in the field.
That time we went to the farmers to buy the milk. There was no such thing as going to the. You went to the farmer's house and bought the milk. They had a great long hand, like an aluminium thing with a real long handle on it, and that was the pint. That was the pint. And you brought your can and a tilly.
And a tilly, yeah.
When they'd always give you extra so many pints and a tilly, then that'd be a little drop. Extra, you know. But the May Day, it was unlucky. They just said that it was unlucky to sell the milk. You'd have to get enough to put you over May Day.
May Day, you don't churn or sell butter. And if you churn or sell butter, and I know a woman who did it, she's not long bit her herself, and she churned and she churned and she churned, and there was no butter come on it. So she had to get it blessed by the priest, and she churned, and butter came on it.
Always on the May mornings, 1st of May, everyone out around the mountainside did always got up really early and went out and wished everybody good luck. Whether there was anybody around them or not, they always wished the neighbours all around good luck. But if you went that morning, then you always went to any farmers or anybody that had cows or any kind of stock or anything, and you wished them all good luck. But if there was a churn there, you had to catch it and give it so many dashes of the dash or the turnover or whatever it was, for to wish them good luck, because if not, you took the look of the butter with you. That was, no, I don't know.
You went into the friars had the tran water,
and you shook that over the, went out with the bottle and shook it over the potato crop.
Farmers.
Yeah, farmers did
it now more than.
Yeah, it was a worm. The tran was a worm. You see, would eat into the potato.
Yeah.
So the friars used to give you the holy water, like.
That's right.
Yeah. And so you'd shake it on the potato crop.
Yeah.
The tran water, to keep the trans out of it. Worm, because that was a worm that eat up the corn, to destroy the crop. And this tran water would be thrown round the field, going out to the corners and throw the tran water.
Used to hear my father say.
I remember that.
They'd make sure to go to 4 corners,
Go to the friary, that's where I used to get the tran water. And you bring a 5 naggin bottle, well, all depending on how many fields the farmer, whoever wanted it. And you bring home the tran water, and the man then had always go from one corner of the field to the other, right across that way, and say their father to have good look at the crops and to kill the trans in the land. And that was done with every field belonging to the farmers at that stage. Yeah. I went for several times from Murphy's to Skeeter Park.
Go away.
Yeah, that used to be my job. And it was always done in the rogation days. That was the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before Central Thursday. Before Central Thursday. Before Central Thursday.
Never heard
that.
They
were the rogation days. Yeah.
Go away.
That was always done in that time.
Well, they went into friars to get the tran water, and it was blessed on Easter, wasn't it, Easter Sunday? And then you went during the week, or as soon as you got and brought it home, and if there was a cow after calving or calving within the year, after the next Easter Sunday, and you put it on the calf's back, and the cow would lick it, and you'd also put it in the mash bran, which cows always got after calving. It was made from bran and hot water, cold water, and it's salt, blessed salt.
And you bring the salt to the church and you get it blessed.
Yeah,
and when the priest has blessed it, you bring it home, and the first thing you do is put it into your Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yes, and then when you're feeding the calves and the cows, you go out the animals, you put a bit in their food.
Yeah.
That's to keep them right for the.
There was an old man up at home, and he used to put a bit in his hand, and the animals.
No matter what they go out to feed, the hens, the chickens, the calves, the cows, it'll be a bit of blessed salt, spoonful of blessed salt put in the food.
Just for the tradition.
Yeah. And the same with the Easter water. That'll be blessed in the church. And that'll be sprinkled around every house where there'll be an animal, as well as the home. The cow house, the horse house, the barn, everything will be blessed with
Easter water.
With Easter water.
Always the first egg of an Easter Sunday morning, you'd use the blessed salt on your boiled egg.
Yeah.
The salt would be after being blessed, so that'd be the first of the salt you'd use.
Yeah.
This salt was blessed on Easter Sunday morning, and then you took it up after Mass and brought it out, and the first person that touched it was whoever brought it into the house, and you took a little pinch and put it on your tongue, and then it was used in the egg on Sunday morning, on the Easter Sunday as well.
The salt was blessed. Always left in on the altar. Left on the rails of the altar to be blessed for Mass time on the Sunday. And when you went home, then you got your egg and you used the blessed salt in the egg with your breakfast. And sure, they used to, use
less salt
than for those.
If there was any animals sick or
anything, animals sick or anything on the farm.
There was always blessed salt shook on the food in that farm,
Yeah.
No, the potatoes always had to be sowed before the 17th of March, and you couldn't dig them then until the 29th of June.
We dug the new spuds before, around the 29th of June, didn't we?
The Feast of Peter and Paul.
Yeah.
Another feast day gone.
Around the 29th of June. You dug the new spuds. And the new spuds would be usually, what's the British Queens?
Queens.
And then there was another one.
Home Guard.
Home Guard, yeah. Yeah.
And epicures.
Epicures, that's right, yeah, that's right, yeah.
The epicures.
Yeah.
Until the main crop would come in, and they would be then the Kerr Pinks.
Yeah.
And the Golden Wonders. You had none of these roosters or any of the other varieties that way.
Yeah.
The Kerr Pink was the main crop then.
Yeah.
Every Halloween we used to have 3 plates and we put 3 items on, is that right? A ring on one plate, clay on another, and water on the third one. And if you got the ring, you were going to be married that year, and if, well, maybe sometime after. And if you get the clay, you were going to die, and if you got water, you were going to leave Ireland and cross the seas, across the water, yeah.
You make your call cannon, and you get a ring, and you put it into greaseproof paper, and you get a threepenny bit. You don't remember them, do you? No, I think not.
Yeah.
But, and you put that, and then whoever got the ring, they were supposed to be getting married next to, and then whoever got the threepenny bit, that they were always supposed to be lucky, they'd always have money.
Always have money, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the call cannon would be put on, boiled for hours. And there'd be a 6pence wrapped up in a bit of paper, greaseproof and put in, and there'd be an old ring put in as well. And if you got the money, you're going to be rich for the rest of your life, and if you got the ring, you'll be getting married soon.
The call cannon was made, as you know, with cabbage and parsnip and potatoes and water. And then there was a little bag sealed up with a bit of money in it, and that was put into the call cannon. And whoever was lucky enough to get that then, it would be only 6pence or 3pence now, it wouldn't be anything more than that. And that was great, you know, if you could get it.
Yeah. Well, it was the same with the barn brags. We used to make our own barn brags, and she'd wrap up the threepenny bit in the bit of paper, you know, the parchment paper, and put that into the brag. Put it in for the cooking, or shove it in afterwards, shove it into a hole, but you'd nearly always find a hole then if you were cutting the bread.
Yeah.
Sure, the call cannon was, I would say, made in a big pot of it.
In a skin.
Yeah, big black pot.
Three-legged spot.
Yeah, the potatoes and the, what else?
Potatoes,
parsnip.
And
cabbage and an onion.
Yeah.
And then it was covered with that, then I think when you had that on it was covered with big green leaves of green cabbage to steam it. You see, you didn't put much water on it. So you steamed it, kind of thing. And you had this cabbage all on top of it, right down on it, and then the lid on top of it. And then you had that with butter, eggs, fried eggs. It was pasté, you see, there.
Yeah, you
and
have eggs
eggs.
Egg poached eggs or something maybe,
yeah.
or fried egg on top. Yeah, the only eggs had to be pasté.
Well, we lit the candle and we said a rosary as well as that. Everyone had said a rosary, whether you liked it or not. All Souls Day, and then there was Good Friday. I remember coming back from Mass on a Good Friday, and there was a certain man down the village, and he was eating, the smell of rashers and sausages was absolutely brilliant. And we're coming up along the road, and my mother always said, if you eat meat on a Good Friday, you die. So I was coming up along the road and I was saying, oh, he's going to die now, he's going to die. But faith, he lived for a long time after that and didn't kill him. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
We always opened the window when a person was dying to help the spirit, all right, years ago. That's gone too.
Yeah. And the same on New Year's night.
The minute a person died.
The minute 12 o'clock would strike on a New Year's Eve, you went to the front door and you opened the door to let the new year in, and you walked straight to the back door then and you opened the back door to let the old year out.
You see, we had been born in Wexford town, but when we went down to the harbour, my mother couldn't understand that all the women were expected to go and walk after this thing and bring all the children. So anybody, no matter who died, whether you knew them or not, everybody went to the funeral. The women and all and the children all went. And that wasn't popular in Wexford in those days. Now I'm going back to the 30s, 1930s. That wouldn't have happened. I remember when my sister died, she was 40. My mother didn't even go to her funeral. women didn't go to funerals in the town.
No.
It wasn't the done thing.
No, it was men that went.
And I don't know when it changed, like, I can't remember when that changed now. Because now all the families would go, like the parents, if somebody died, the parents.
Because the husbands and wives didn't go to mass together, because if one stayed in this Sunday, then the other one stayed in the next Sunday. It's mine in the house, like, My father and mother never went to mass together.
Or went to early mass, one went to early mass.
We did the one mass, like.
Oh, you don't like the one
country,
mass? They couldn't go.
And they never went to mass together.
We only went out and got holly with berries on it and put it up and whitewashed the kitchen. That was our do for Christmas.
And we used to get the holly, well, there were 6 of us in the family, we were all going to school at the time, and we used to take the leaves off the holly. We had very great holly, and you'd get a thread, and we'd link all the holly onto the thread, and then you hung them over your dresser or wherever for Christmas. That's the way it was done.
There was another old tradition about when you get married. There'd be
The black bennet come.
No, there'd be horn in you.
Oh, you're blowing
horns.
Making
You
noise.
heard about that, didn't you? Yeah.
Come outside the house, and when you come back after the honeymoon, you'll be blowing, making noise.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a minute's space. They'd be blowing horns outside maybe for hours.
They used to get married at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they went back to the bride's house and had rashers and sausages and eggs for their breakfast instead of going to a hotel.
And probably plenty of homemade bread.
And plenty of homemade bread, yes. And they'd have maybe a few beers and maybe a bottle of wine and what have you. But it'd only be for that day. And it didn't cost people as much. They didn't have the money to spend on these things either.
Maybe some of them went back to work the next day.
Yeah.
Probably
They never didn't go on
honeymoons.
honeymoons.
Do you know they didn't have honeymoons?
No.
Way back?
No. I went to Glendalough on my honeymoon.
Remember the night that I was married, we had the reception at home?
And
What did they
that
call
was
them?
There was a different name on them. A group used to get
Get together.
And where there was a wedding,
Used to come banging on the
they
windows.
used to come
and
banging
all.
on the doors and blowing.
Blowing.
There were
Hearne.
There were cows' horn, the cow's horn, and blowing the horn. But there was damage done in some places because they stuffed stuff in the chimney, and of course it smoked the place out, and they tied the outside door then that no one could get out, and stuffed the chimneys. Yeah, the night you were married.
He was married.
Yeah.
Mikey Kearney.
He was one of them.
Mikey Kearney, the funeral undertaker.
Yeah.
He wasn't that time, but he
Brother-in-law,
was
mine
young.
was.
Peg's brother-in-law. And a crowd of them went out and they jumped over the ditch opposite my place and out in the fields and they caught him and they brought him in, they gave him a hiding.
But if there was a party in a house, years ago there'd be parties in houses now, and these black men used to come in, and dressed up and all, and they'd interrupt the whole thing and set the whole thing mad. All right. But I remember years ago telling a story about an old man. Well, he was old when he got married, and himself and his wife was no honeymoon ring that time. I know it wasn't a nice thing to do, but anyway, they some of the cute boys, the neighbours, came along and had a barrel of water. Remember years ago there used to be barrels,
inside the door.
And no, this was the car with they'd have a barrel.
The water barrel.
Like what you spray potatoes with.
Yeah.
And they'd come along anyway, and this night anyway they had the husband and wife were there and they had some friends in, and they wheeled the car to the door, and when they opened the door, the whole place was flooded. Everybody was flooded. But I think this man himself, he used to play tricks, on other people, and they were getting their own back on him.